I went to Costco and I bought all of your toilet paper. So you guys didn't have a chance. I had all of it. Lots of toilet paper.
And it was from a little girl named Alanis, who was 8, and her brother Xavier, who was age 4. And it's so cute. It says, "Thank you for fighting for everyone's freedom. God will be by your side, and God will protect you from the enemy. With God, everything is possible. Stay strong. We are praying for you every step of the journey. Love, Alanis and Xavier." Dear truckers, thank you, truckers. God bless you, truckers. God bless Canada. Canada strong and free. I pray for you. I love you. We support you, truckers. And this is from Joseph, who's age 10, and he drew a picture of Justin Trudeau. Can you see that? Justin Trudeau.
Oh, nice.
And then this is from their mother. All you dear courageous truckers and support teams, may God bless you all 1,000 times over. You have made me proud of our country, proud to be a Canadian. It is so heartening after years of feeling surrounded by people who have been tricked into surrendering their freedoms, people who are indifferent or even angry when others exercise their freedom. It is so heartening to hear about the unified, peaceful, joyful, loving way that you all are standing up for the freedom of all Canadians. I wish that my parents and 9 siblings and I were there with you. Your witness is changing hearts, and that's the best, the only way to combat evil. I know that God and Our Lady are standing at the head of the convoy with you, and that they are blessing you for your sacrifice and courage. God make our land glorious and free. Love and prayers for you all. Yeah. So I emailed your show, and you emailed me back, and you said he's on Friday.
Oh, did I? And, good. I'm glad I was nice to you.
You were nice to me.
So, after the convoy, that was the way that the convoy was taken down and all the uncertainty with okay, what's going to happen to us now, was when my wife and I were like, we need to get out of the Ottawa area. And so we started right away, getting our house ready to put on the market. Took some time because we're also kind of, we're doing some research on different things we had learned during the convoy, trying to figure out what was real, what wasn't. And then also kind of, I would say, battling like a form of depression for a good 3 months, until finally I kind of just snapped myself away and was like, okay, you have made zero progress on getting your family where they need to be. It's time to get moving. And so that was when we really started to, work on getting the house ready for the market and making those arrangements.
What was the depression about, Danny?
Well, I think the feeling of betrayal. You know people for the better part of a decade. Yeah. You feel like they're your brotherhood. And then all of a sudden, it's seemingly almost overnight, you're one of the team to you're the enemy. And, I saw police do things during COVID and during the convoy that I never, ever imagined I would see in Canada. Mm-hmm. And part of it, I'll admit, I was worried. I was worried they were going to come for us.
Given that you're here with Chris and Tamara and Danny and Tom, and that was such a big moment, can you maybe just explain what that was like for you, and maybe interact with them a little bit about what collectively that was like to be part of this historic but awful moment, and of course the irony of you being the signatory to this document?
Yeah, well, it was quite unusual and startling, although being there at the time and talking to Keith Wilson and some of the other people who were with at the time, there was something that came to us through other means, indicating that it was likely that the federal government was going to invoke the Emergencies Act, and we were completely shocked at the time. But knowing the various things that had happened up to then, our shock suddenly turned to, well, what do you expect? And the first thing came to my mind was, in introducing, in invoking the Emergencies Act, they were also subject to the Charter. And the Charter, Section 1 says you must demonstrably justify that what you're doing is constitutional, follows the Charter. And of course, they did not do that. They just went ahead and invoked it without demonstrating that they had justified doing this under the Charter. That's part of the introduction to the Emergencies Act.
But I wonder also if it isn't a little bit of learned helplessness, right? I mean, people were so happy about the convoy, and then we got sort of 3 weeks of happiness, and then it was crushed, right? And I think that has left a residue across the country. I think people say, well, if we can't protest peacefully like they did, what great examples they were of how to actually do it. I mean, it was like Gandhi, right? They were so peaceful. And yet we can't even have that. So what do we have like that? I think that's why people now who were really heavily invested in that emotionally and sociologically are so depressed right now, Brian, because what do we do now? How do we, what levers are available to us if not protest or the courts, right?
So understand, except for the creation of the country in 1867, the Charter of Rights and Freedoms is by far the most important document in the history of our country since we were a country. It is the most important one because it applies to you and me equally.
Yeah, we're not the big dangerous criminals, are we? That's everybody in the media has made us out to be. So,
well, that depends on who you follow on Twitter, my friend.
I think we were about 2/3 of the way there, and I was talking to my wife. And my wife is at home watching every clip she could get her hands on at that point. And she's a lot smarter than me, which begs the question why we're together. But she said this is going to become, it's going to be just a war of what can get out there. Like I'm missing the word, but
PR war, basically.
Yeah, like almost like a spin war. Like it's gonna become a media thing, and it's gonna be a battle to see who can spin this their way. And she was bang on, right?
Yeah.
Well, as a lot of people, that's one of the most things I hear all the time is people, the ones that watch the media versus the ones that watch the live stream were a completely, totally different thing.
Yeah.
And I've thought so much about this, and we really didn't have a chance. I mean, with some minds in Ottawa, because as we've discussed numerous times, and I've talked about numerous times, I mean, we have the text messages between the Prime Minister's office and the Minister of Public Safety's office. And I think it was Global News, all setting this narrative that the local politicians and law enforcement bureaucracy in Ottawa just sort of ran with, and of course their media also. So, I mean, I do believe that there was people in Ottawa that felt afraid or felt intimidated or didn't want to leave their house. But I mean, that was put in their heads before we even got there.
100%.
Mm-hmm. And I'll be one of the first to espouse the ills of social media.
Mm-hmm.
Correct. Yeah, correct.
Like I remember running across you in a hotel lobby for some of those block leader meetings, but
yes,
didn't actually shake your hand, I don't believe. And then you must have had a weird first impression because we did a premiere in Calgary, but there was also, what was that event that had Christina Anderson at it?
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
A number of people there that same weekend. So I run into you there. Great. I meet you there, and I'm excited to meet you because I know we're in the same documentary and we're going to spend, I felt like I knew you already.
Right.
But first thing I did, I started taking off my shirt. I'm like, Tamara, come look at this. Come check this. She's like, what am I going to see? I think she must have thought that. And I was just trying to show you my tattoo.
That's right.
Oh my
gosh.
She's probably like, what the heck?
Yeah. That's hilarious. Gord, you said that you have talked with Tony recently. Can you give us an update on how he's doing? What does he need?
Sure.
Thank you. Thank you.
I think in the couple of years I've been talking with Tony from prison now, I think there was only ever one time where he sounded down, right? I would compare Tony to the Paul Newman character in Cool Hand Luke. You guys have seen that movie? It's a sort of classic movie about this guy. He gets busted. He's drunk and he like smashes a parking meter, goes to jail, and the guards are picking on him. The prison warden's picking on him, but he always just has a smile on his face, and he escapes. He goes back. But he doesn't let them ever get him down. And Tony is very much in this same, positive, not letting this situation get him down. He's been a model prisoner. All the reviews of his incarceration, like why are you even here? When he got to Drumheller, he was given a job unloading freight for the prison, which is pretty highly sensitive because if you want to put contraband or illegal substances, that's where it comes through. But every time they talk to Tony and assess him, they're like, this guy he's a workaholic and he's got no issues, no problems. And, he's always got jobs at prison. He administers his faith to other people. He tries to help guys out who've had, a rough time, did stupid crap, which led them to being in prison. And so Tony's just been of a very positive vibe, very useful to his fellow prisoners. He's just an awesome dude. He was a workaholic. How he got involved and he wanted to stand up for his fellow citizens. That's why he went to Coots. Again, this entire trial is it's a bit of a sham, and we can get into the details why all this is happening. But Tony's good, and I told him I was coming on here to talk with you guys, and he did want to say that he's very thankful for all the support. He's thankful for the letters. He really misses everybody outside. He pays a lot of attention to the news because, they do get TV in there, and him and the other inmates talk about politics and current events all the time. So, he's keeping his mind active. He knows a lot about what's going on outside.
Yeah, I can add that I've talked recently to Chris Carbert, and he's got a job, and he's got a girlfriend. Don't think needs that to be a secret. And he also is really grateful for tons of support that he's got in the Lethbridge area and of course beyond. And so he's I think that kind of support is a real rock for him, and he's grateful. And as Gord mentioned, they had their appeal was heard on September 11th, and they're just waiting to see what happens when the decision is made regarding what the justice system or the judge makes of the appeal in the time ahead.
But let's go back to the POEC for a minute. I was there. You were there, Chris. We were all there when Brendan got ejected for challenging Rouleau. Yes. And the thing is, I'll tell you about Brendan. The one thing I know for a fact that is vitally important to Brendan Miller is being right.
Yes.
Having the facts and making sure you can back it up. And Rouleau pushed him to the point where he called Rouleau out several times in the courtroom. And you know what? Finally, Rouleau, he didn't have the facts on his side. He had his emotions, like a good little liberal that he is. And he kicked Brendan out of the commission. I mean, Brendan was back by the late afternoon. But you know what? When it comes to Brendan Miller, and a lot of lawyers are tenacious, but Brendan has a particular brand of courage and tenaciousness that is kind of rare in the legal profession, I think. During the convoy itself, I remember when the government was talking about going after parents who brought their children to the convoy because their children were in the truck with them.
Yep.
And these are kids that had very much the same life experience that your kids had growing up in the trucks. This is what these families do, and it shows you how disconnected from reality these government organizations are, where they were threatening to remove the children from the parents, the custody of the parents, because they felt that they shouldn't be at the convoy, they shouldn't have been in the trucks, they should have been in school, because hey, the government knows more about parenting than you do, clearly. But they were talking about euthanizing all of the dogs, all the pets that were in the trucks. These were the threats that we were constantly dealing with from the police and bylaw and all this crap. They started targeting children and talking to us actively about euthanizing the pets that were in the vehicles with truckers. This is Canada, right? This is so your story about your kids growing up in that is a common story within the industry. And I do think you should write the book and talk about that and tell that, because like you're one family amongst thousands across this country that do it. And I just saw in the comments about the ostriches, like there's no lengths to terrorizing the public and demoralizing the public that this government, various levels of government, go to.
I think out of 187 people arrested in Freedom Convoy, JCC left a majority of people through that, and so did the Democracy Fund. So James Bauer right now, who is obviously seeking political asylum in the U.S. for lawfare, the Canadian government's coming after him the same way that they came after Tamara, myself, Pat, others. James decided to go a different route on that. Democracy Fund is helping him right now with that legal plight. I talked to James for about 2 hours this week and had a good conversation with him. The amount of stuff that poor guy's facing right now, if the asylum doesn't go through, he faces a lot of time in jail. And judging by what we have just been through the court system, he didn't have that help at that time. So he would definitely been buried in lawfare, and he took the best option out as far as I can see. I support James 100% in what he's doing right now. So many people in this movement have been so easy to quick and turn on people and try and condemn them, getting so much more attention than the next person. You got to remember that we were all standing in this one at one time. And if you choose to go negative on this and try and attack other people because of the way they stand, you are not helping the situation. So I go back to this too, right? And I think you do, Tom. If the more people talk in this movement and the more divisive and angry and bitter they get at certain people, that is the exact reasons why some of us distances ourselves from other people.
Tamara, you probably have queued up a couple of examples of the level of incompetence between the politicians and themselves. And I do want to remind everybody, Tamara, you touched on this 2 weeks ago, that as early as the 27th of January, we learned this at the PUEC, early as the 27th of January, the PMO's office was saying, don't put too much pressure on this convoy because we don't want to push out the crazies. I don't know who they're talking about, but they were just like, there's people there.
It was actually, July the 24th. It was before I even shook Chris Barber's hand.
July?
So the initial text, January 24th.
January, yeah.
So it was January 24th, and that was when Chris came to pick me up. And the same day, there was this text message exchange between Mary Liz Powers, who was the issues advisor to Justin Trudeau, and Alexander Cohen, the director of communications for Mendocino's public safety office. And in that text exchange, you can clearly see, I don't know if you can see that, this text exchange basically where they're talking about, okay, got quick responses, people are into it. So this is Mary Liz Powers texting Alex. So the PMO texting the public safety officer. Let me know if your boss is too happy to help however I can. Just had a chat with Alex at public safety, who had a bit of an interesting idea. As you saw in the what does that say? It's pretty small. In the chat, the truckers convoy and some of their more extreme comments, i.e. calling for a January 6th style insurrection. Nobody that I know of in the convoy called for a January 6th style insurrection.
The government wanted that, though.
Yes, they did.
Yep. Are getting more coverage in media. Alex was surveying whether there'd be interest in his boss doing some media on this eventually. He was chatting with Mendocino about it right before he went into cabinet retreat. I think there could be an opportunity to get in on this growing narrative of the truckers, particularly with the research that LRB is doing into our backers, Canadians, or Canadian middle-class donors. My thoughts of the framing here would be similar to what the PM and Blair said last year when January 6th occurred. Our democracy is something we need to nurture and protect every day. So keep in mind, this is the narrative that they're creating. So then this is some of the points that they were making, like that they were going to talk about. We will always support the right to peaceful protest. Some of the calls that organizers of these events are making are concerning, and we're taking them seriously. So these are all the talking points that they're coming up with. We'll continue to monitor the situation closely. The fine line to walk would be to ensure that we are not looking like we're directing the police, which obviously is not the goal here. Hoping to canvass your thoughts. Alex said he'd come back to me with a proposal this afternoon when he gets to chat with Mendocino. And then he says, thanks. I had an initial chat with my boss, Marco, and he's supportive, but wants to wait a day or two. There's a danger that if we come down too hard, they might push out the crazies. Mm-hmm. And she says, that's fair. Global and others are working on stories. Maybe we see how those land. But you heard these stories from some of these people, and then you've probably read the blog A Night with the Untouchables that David Mayberry wrote. And David Mayberry lived in an apartment on Kent Street directly over top of the protest, directly over top of it. And Eva and I went and had dinner with him and his lovely, lovely wife when we were in Ottawa for the POEC. And then he wrote an article about it, and he was watching what the news was saying, and he's looking down on us, literally looking out his window down on the convoy. And so he's listening to the news and seeing what's happening down there. So he decided to go out and talk to people. And he said, it's a beautiful, beautiful piece. It's called A Night with the Untouchables by David Mayberry. I wish I had a link for it, but it is, he just went out to talk to people and to find out why they were there, what they wanted. And I think even that one evening, changed him.
Mm-hmm. So, I remember meeting them in the apartment.
I'm going to put that in the chat.
Tamara, you and I were not allowed to be left alone in a room together. But yeah, I remember meeting them, and it was a big surprise to him how viral his article went. But it was really, really well done. I do remember reading it a long time after. So yeah, that was really good. That was good. And it was good to meet him.
Well, yep, of course, I have the forfeiture hearing on Big Red on Friday, December 19th. And in that court,
the 19th.
We will find out the fate of everything. So the judge will rule whether she throws it out or grants the forfeiture. And
9 days. I told somebody the 21st. For some reason yesterday I was thinking it was the 21st, but December 19th.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's a lot on the head.
Yeah, I don't know. I wonder that's a lot. I mean, honestly, I think she has to throw it out. That's not going to stop the crown, obviously, but I think she pretty much has to throw it out. This is just unprecedented.
It's political persecution, and I think people need to wake up. That people that aren't seeing that right now is just see the vindictiveness and viciousness of the crown right now when it comes to how hard they. I was thinking I did a little thing on my TikTok last week, and I just said tales from the trial, and 7 people testified against Tamara and I at the course of her trial, and none of those 7 people had any personal interactions with Tamara or myself during the convoy. But did they sure make some outlandish statements? And then I was going to do another one, and maybe we should talk about it now. It was September 5th of 2023. We started our trial in Ottawa. It was supposed to be a 16-day trial. How many days did it end up being? Do you remember? Was it 55?
I think it was 50. Yeah. I did an interview with the guys from Blender News this morning, and we were actually just talking about this exact same thing. It was supposed to be 16 days and end in the middle of October, and it actually stretched out over 2 years. And I think it was 50 days. Or it was just a little bit more than I think my jail time. So. And the crazy thing is that Paul Bernardo's trial, I try to bring this up because Paul Bernardo's whole trial was over in 4 months.
4 months.
So, this is a man that was convicted of doing some really terrible things. And, it's just unbelievable that it took that long for a mischief. That doesn't happen in Canada. It's never happened before in Canada.
No. Well,
even Gilbo didn't have a mischief trial. He paid a $250 fine and probably had probation or something.
And become a member of Parliament with a pension for crying out loud.
And that's the thing. I mean, circling back to our conversation about, people turning against us. I mean, I don't know if they think that we live this glorious life of luxury or, You know, like I don't get. We're looking at the next 10 years of our life in a courtroom in some fashion.
Yep.
Between the civil suit, this, and plus our own suits, right? So, I mean, there's absolutely nothing glorious about it. I just don't get it.
Well, I heard somebody speaking the other day that we have handlers that monitor us.
Yes, right.
Did you hear that? We have handlers that watch us, and we've been instructed by our handlers not to have a conversation with other people. We have handlers now. I'll tell you who my handler is. He's 11 pounds, and his name is Zippy, sitting at the top of the stairs up here, staring at me, wondering when his next meal is going to be. That's my handler.
Yeah, no doubt.
There's no
I have one of those too.
Political operative,
Yeah.
control opposition, and I just about think I've heard it all.
Oh my gosh, what did I just get accused of the other day from that guy, David? I was a Biden CIA operative. And I'm like, yes, David, you found me out.
Yep.
I am a Biden era CIA operative, of course, and see also Russian asset, Elon Musk's bestie. I put because apparently he fixes the algorithm for me so that my posts get a lot of reach. We're tight. CPC shill, liberal plant, you know, like you name it.
Now you're just being a Chad now. Come on.
Yeah, that's right. Just being a Chad. Oh, George Soros funded. I'm funded by George Soros. I mean, I don't understand, you know, where people come up with this stuff. And we've talked about this before. Like, why everything is not a conspiracy theory. There's definitely a lot of things, but I mean, every single thing is like not a conspiracy theory. We're just like regular, boring people, in my opinion. Right?
Doesn't it kind of hit you? It hits me every now and then where I'm just kind of driving. I woke up this morning and I thought, why are we living through this right now? The government wants to take my truck because, like, it floors me that we're at a spot right now. I got a message from somebody the other day, and he said, how do you keep your composure? Why are you not angry and bitter? Well, you know, honestly, I thought about it, and I'm like, there's too many people watching right now. For me to show anger or bitter would be a show of, I don't want weakness, maybe, and I'm not weak in any sense. I will stand my ground right till the end, and this truck is something that I will fight literally to the death for. It's that attached to me as a thing. So it has no, you know, it has the resemblance to Freedom Convoy, of course, that it has for so many people. But for me, it's been my life for 22 years, this truck, and I still run it. I talk to it. Isn't it ironic that 22 years ago today, November 26, 2003, I picked this truck up from Custom Truck Sales in Regina, brand new. I would like to take everybody for a little tour on my 2004 W900 Kenworth, the iconic Big Red. The seats are a little wore out. It is it's been my home for the better part of 22 years. I'd like to show you the collar of the dog Buddy that I had put down in this passenger seat, and I believe it was 2014. The dog traveled with me for the better part of 17 years. This truck has been my life and my family's life for as long as they can remember. We actually have the bunk bed in the back right now down because my daughter's been helping me and piloting with me. So in the evenings we save our hotel costs by her just sleeping up here and I sleep down on the bottom. The kids were literally babies when this truck was new. My son was 7 months old. He was the first one in the passenger seat. And they were raised in this truck and around this truck. They are the ones who named it the Big Red Truck. And then that name stuck from there. And iconically, it is now, it's a piece of history. And the Crown wants to destroy that because of that. So ask yourself in history, what government in the past has done that same thing? Yeah, I think it was China under communist dictatorship. And that's one of the things that I've probably bettered about myself. And during Convoy, my old social media personality, my audience was truckers, and that was basically what it was. And then during Convoy, I was able to look back and think that there was probably a better way to reuse some words and limit your language and grow a little bit. So that's why I say I think I probably grew the most out of anyone during Convoy, which is, it's a benefit.
I don't know. I had an insight the other day that it wasn't a protest, it was a rescue, right?